Well, many of you have sent in email questions that you'd like answered, and so we want to start today, Pat, with Donna, who says, Romans 12:20 says, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him a drink. For in so doing, you will heap coals of fire on his head. What does this mean?
Well, it doesn't mean you'll burn his brains out.
But you make him feel bad.
What it meant was, in that primitive culture, if somebody let their fire go out, he or she was pretty negligent. And they had to go out and borrow some coals, put them in a thing, carry them. That's the idea. And by heaping coals of fire on their head, you're actually shaming them.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean you want to burn their brains out.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
That's what, well, I had an uncle who said it'll burn his blank brains out. That's not what it means. All right, next.
This is Susan, who says, our 16-year-old daughter has friends that she texts who live out of state. She's never met them, but she believes that they are who they say. We have tried to explain to her that this is not safe, that they can pretend to be someone they're not, but she's being stubborn, saying they would never do that. We are worried that these people will slowly try to find out where we live, etc. Should we go so far as to take away her phone since she's being disobedient?
That's a toughie. Daughters, and I've had daughters, 2 daughters, and daughters have a rebellious time, about 16, where they think they know everything and they don't want to listen to discipline. Later on, they become very loving and all that, but there was a period in there. I know what I did with my daughter. She wanted to do something that was totally inappropriate and would have hurt her. And I said, well, okay, you go ask Jesus. And then you come tell me what he says. Now, I don't know if your daughter is that far along in spiritual life, but my daughter came back after about 15 minutes. I said, what did Jesus say? And she said, he said not to do it. So it wasn't me imposing my will on her, but you're going to take away her phone, then she's going to be mad, then she's going to sneak out and go to the neighbors and borrow their phone or their computer, and then it's going to get in deeper and deeper. This is very dangerous, what's happening now. You cannot allow her to do that, but you've got to somehow ask her to pray with her. But if somehow you can move your children to a relationship with the Lord, instead of fighting you, they're fighting God, and they can't win, and they know that. And so you say, what does God want? And suddenly they say, okay, God doesn't want me to do that. And it's a whole different relationship.
You know, we've done several stories on this program of people who've gotten in trouble because of this kind of thing. So if you could even collect some of those from online and sit down and reason a little bit.
Reason at 16 girls doesn't work.
Yeah, I guess I should know that by now.
You don't know, but isn't it true?
Yeah, no, I think it can be. Well, for one thing, you know, we raise our children to be trusting.
Did you see that commercial they run about somebody saying, you can't believe what's on the internet? I said, oh, yes, you can. You can believe whatever's on the internet. And they say, well, I'm going out on a date, and he says he's a famous French model, and this goon comes up, bonjour. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, famous French model. He said it on the internet. It has to be true. All right, what's next?
This is Jenny, who says the Bible is very clear that eating pork and shellfish is an abomination. Yet so many Christians do not understand this truth. Almighty God would not change his mind. I would really appreciate your input.
You remember what Peter had a vision? A sheet full of all kinds of stuff, and he said, I've never eaten anything unclean, and God said, don't call what God has made unclean. Jesus Christ also made all foods well. He said, the only thing that pollutes you is what goes into your heart, not what goes into your stomach. The thing about pork is the pork, they get trichinosis because of the way they eat, and their body won't process like a cow. Shellfish are loaded with pollution. I mean, they dredge on the bottom of the ocean, all the garbage and the sewer that's down there. So to eat that stuff unprocessed, especially in a situation like the early Hebrews, was deadly for their health. So those regulations had real wisdom to them. But we are free in the New Testament from dietary regulations, so it's not God, going to condemn you if you eat an oyster. All right.
Okay, this is Kelly Jane who says, my question is, are the dreams or passions that we have solely our selfish desires, or are they put in our hearts by God because he wants us to pursue them?
Both. Both. I think God gives us dreams, he gives us visions, gives us revelation, but also you eat too much food for dinner and you'll have some kind of a nightmare.
Too many tacos and you're in
Too
trouble.
many tacos and ole, you're dancing the samba. But I don't want to denigrate the fact that God speaks through dreams. But we have to be very careful about it as to where it is. And again, every revelation needs to be checked out. And God doesn't want you to bypass your reason.
You know what, tomorrow we have a guest on the program that's going to talk about dreams and how God uses them in our lives. So
Okay.
that would be for Kelly Jane. You want to catch that.
All right.